Happy Devil's Thursday. This is At the Point. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Bruce Zeman. Yeah, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Wow. Do we have a show for you tonight? We're at the midseason already for this 2024-25 NHL season. Lots to talk about because there have been surprises, disappointments, some other shenanigans as well. A lot of great games tonight. For me personally, and I don't want to make it about me, Bruce, but since you're in the Delaware area and I'm in the New Jersey area, there's a big college football game tonight, which I am really nervous about because, and also the New Jersey Devils and New York Rangers are playing tonight. So I got a double whammy concurrently, two TVs going at once. I already told people that I'm not going to work tomorrow if both teams lose. I just can't face the world. That's how big of a fan I am, Bruce.
Well, two big games, the football game and the Devils game with the Rangers tonight. And, you know, I think you hit it on the head, Sam. I think there's going to be shenanigans, and particularly in the Devils-Rangers game, I think there's going to be some feistiness that a lot of people are going to want to see.
Well, yeah, suddenly Igor Shesterkin is playing, Matt Rempe is playing, coming off of his 8-game suspension. Conveniently, the NHL decides to release the beast, when the New Jersey Devils play in Madison Square Garden. But, let me tell you, most people don't know about this. As a Nittany Lions fan, when some people talk smack about the Devils, yeah, I give it back, whatever. But if you talk smack about my Nittany Lions just because I went there to State College, I get aggressive. I'm just like every other Penn Stater. We get annoying and we get aggressive and very biased.
Well, they're your team. You're passionate. You care about them. And,
but for whatever reason, college football makes me go crazy.
Well, the program went through, some issues, as you know, and they've gotten past that. But I get it. And, you're passionate about your team. I have to say, I think you're probably one of the most educated fans that I've ever met with whatever you're talking about. Even before, you and I have been friends for a long time, but even before we were friends, I remember watching the stuff that you do. And I said, man, this guy's a lot smarter than I am.
Well, thank you, Bruce. If you may, I'd love for you to meet all the internet trolls that think I'm an idiot, and I hope you could tell them that.
You know what my point is on internet trolls, and it's funny, I'm digressing a little bit, but it was funny. When I was doing my show up at WVTK in Vermont, do you know how many people told me how stupid it was that I did a morning show, a morning radio show with a couple of pups? And then when the show started making all this money and we got elected into the Vermont Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, I took a great deal of satisfaction in thinking to myself, I'm up here and they're not. So, again, anybody that wants to troll you, like I said in the last show, to anybody that thinks doing a show like this is easy, be my guest.
Actually, what's funny? And we'll get on with the program, but I can just tell you a story. You just reminded me of Shorts Guy's ex-girlfriend from a while back that was, well, let's say manipulative, a loser, and I didn't like how she treated him. And that was a long time ago, but I remember her one time. It was, she made some comment on Facebook, and we're talking about years ago, like when Facebook was just in its infancy. She made some comment about, these rich stay-at-home moms in Montclair jogging in the snow or something like that, or whatever, and I must have commented something, snarky back because I didn't like her. And I remember one time she said, good luck with that little hockey thing of yours or something like that. And this is before the Let's Go Devils podcast. It was before all that. And I just still remember it to this day. And I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, your ex-boyfriend, he's probably one of the most popular Devils podcasters in New Jersey Devils history, But anyway, but that's just me. Anyway, we're getting off topic here, Bruce, about life, but that's okay. That's what At the Point is about. It's not just all hockey. We could make points about other things as well.
Life happens.
Yeah, definitely. So we're at the midpoint. I can't believe we're already at the midpoint of this NHL season. It's gone by really fast. Really fast. And I want to ask the audience on our YouTube and X and Facebook, I want to know which NHL team was the biggest surprise so far at the halfway point. And maybe we could say, who do you think would be the biggest surprise at the end of the season, since we're at the halfway point?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, there's a couple of teams, if you ask me, that, in my opinion, are the biggest surprise. I mean, if you look at Winnipeg and Minnesota. But if I had to pick one for the purposes of our conversation, the biggest surprise to me this season in the league would probably be the Washington Capitals. I think at the beginning of the season, we thought they might be around a 500 team, but they've been a lot better than that. 27-10-4, 58 points. They're number one in the Metro and second in the NHL. And it's kind of a tangential story, of course. We talked about this on Tuesday. You've got the great Alex Ovechkin, who is inching in on Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record.
You took my answer, Bruce. So I'm gonna have another answer. How about that?
Okay.
How about your Winnipeg Jets starting the season so hot? Connor Hellebuck trying to redeem himself from last year's playoffs. Winnipeg Jets looking good out west. Really, they're in the central of nowhere. That's one of my picks. One of my picks. I didn't think the Winnipeg Jets would just jump out like that. But also, I would have to say the Minnesota Wild as well. They've been equally as good. Just didn't jump out to that hot start, but I think that would be my surprise team, the Winnipeg Jets.
And there's going to be some good teams that are not going to make the playoffs this year. And it's going to be interesting to see what the ramifications are, because you can't really give away points. And now, especially in that conference, I mean, there's going to be some really good teams that may not make the playoffs. But, I mean, hats off to the Capitals and everything that they've done. But heck of a great start to the season.
Yeah. Also, I have a little soft spot for the Winnipeg Jets. I've always liked them before, the original Winnipeg Jets went to Arizona, which is now Utah. I gotta admit, I love my Devils, but nothing gets me more fired up in the playoffs when the Winnipeg Jets, they've got the smoke coming out and the lighting. The players are about to come out. 3 minutes to go before the players come out, and they're playing Top Gun. And they're all waiting, and you could feel the build. You could feel the build. And then when the PA announces, "Your Winnipeg," and all these Canadian fans, you know how they are. Basically, all of Winnipeg is in one arena at that point, and it's just like electric. Just that whole build, the way they do it, and you having Top Gun in the background, and of course you get into the anthems and "Oh Canada." So I have a little soft spot for the Winnipeg Jets. I think they do things right in the playoffs.
Let me say this to any of our fans that are watching this or listening to this, and Sam, you're 100% right. And if you have not had, as a hockey fan, if you had not had an opportunity to see an NHL game in a Canadian arena, you got to go do it, because there's nothing like it. I mean, I love my Devils too, but whether it's Montreal or Toronto or hopefully it's sometime in the future, Quebec, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Calgary, I mean, there's just nothing like it. It's just a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah, totally different. And, you know, I'll tell you, has the Winnipeg Jets ever played an outdoor game?
I don't think they have.
They have to. You got to have a flyover for an outdoor game.
Absolutely.
Don't they have a CFL Winnipeg? Was it Winnipeg Bombers or something? I don't know. I don't follow Canadian Football League, but you know, it is just, you know, it would be amazing to have a Canadian flyover for a Winnipeg Jets game.
That would be amazing
with Top Gun in the background and all the smoke, you know. And then after that presentation, they go into the danger zone, you know, to drop the puck. Anyway, I'm just dreaming here. All right, well, let's see here. Biggest surprise. What about biggest disappointments? The team.
Boy, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. There's a couple. But again, if I'm picking one, I'm going to go with the Nashville Predators. They made a bunch of huge off-season acquisitions. You know, Steven Stamkos coming from Tampa. They expected really good things. It hasn't happened. 13, 21, and 7 right now, 33 points, 7th in the Central Division, 30th in the NHL, and their Achilles heel this year, Sam, has been their play on the road. 5-14-4, which is just not going to do it in the NHL.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the New York Rangers spiraling out of control has been a great disappointment in the NHL. Because this is a President Trophy winning team. And to fall off a cliff that badly and having the offseason they had, trying to trade Jacob Trouba, it's just been one disaster after another for GM Chris Drury, at least from a PR perspective. And you give a boatload of money to Igor Shesterkin, and then suddenly he's lifting the briefcase into his bank account, and suddenly he's hurt. And then, actually, he's playing tonight, apparently. I think the fall of the New York Rangers has been a great disappointment in the NHL because I would have never thought that they would fall that badly.
No, I don't think they would have either. But you know, you again hit it right on the head. I mean, I don't know what you do if you're in that situation. Now we, analyzed this a little bit on Tuesday, but you've gotten rid of some players that you didn't think fit into your system. Jacob Trouba, there's rumblings that Chris Kreider may go. A couple of others. You've got a couple of bad contracts, and maybe a new voice is needed upstairs. I don't know, but I think they're running out of runway because, I mean, the next big change has got to be either the coach or the GM unless they make some blockbuster trade. But, power forwards like Chris Kreider don't grow on trees.
Agreed.
So that's a tough one.
Yeah. Any other disappointments? Well,
I mean, if you look at the Chicago Blackhawks, I think players thought that they would be a little bit. I thought a lot of people thought that they would be a little bit better. I don't think people thought that they would be a playoff team. I think that's a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, the other team I was going to pick would be the Buffalo Sabres. I think people expected some more from them. They haven't had a good year either. There's some rumblings that their GM could be in trouble. So, a bunch of teams on the other end of the spectrum, too.
Yeah. But we got some compliments and comments in the YouTube Live. Corbin says, smash that thumbs up for Bruce, Sam, and Bruce. Thanks for what you do. Well, thank you, Corbin, for listening.
Thanks, Corbin.
Tom making fun of me. He says, Sam, you dissed all of PA recently. Yeah, I complained about the Pennsylvania drivers, but it has nothing to do with Penn State. I'm just saying. Pennsylvania drivers do not belong in New Jersey. I'll say even Delaware, Bruce. They just
All
don't.
I know is that the Phillies are going to have a good season, Sam. I'm not going there.
Well,
Not going there. Not picking on anybody.
I am a New York Mets fan, but this is I'll just keep it hockey related right now. But thank you, Corbin, for the compliment, and also Anthony LaPena, his daughter Tori, big fan of the program. Also saying hello, good evening, pre-evening, Devil's family, and already saved the call it an evening. All right, well, Anthony LaPena, and also Wimpy, saying that go Nittany Lions 2 LGD, but go Nittany Lions 2 for Sam's sake. Yes, because I will be in complete depression if Penn State gets demolished by Notre Dame Fighting Irish, which an off question, Bruce. I've been asking myself, I've been asking my coworkers, I've been asking random people on the streets, I've been asking the fans, why do they call the Fighting Irish Notre Dame? Isn't Notre Dame like a French thing?
I know literally nothing about college football. I am a hockey guy through and
Notre
through.
Dame Cathedral, I thought that was all like a French thing. There was a movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Isn't that French?
What about Rudy?
Rudy? What about Rudy?
That's literally the extent of my knowledge about Notre Dame.
Wow.
Or Notre Dame, or however you say it.
I don't know. Shouldn't they be the Fighting Frenchies? That's what I think. Anyway.
Hey, before you keep going, let me just answer a question we were talking about earlier. I believe that the Winnipeg Jets played in the 2019 Heritage Classic up in Regina. They beat the Calgary Flames 1-0 on October 26th, 2019.
So my question is, did they have a Canadian flyover? Because I want to watch the video of that game now.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, that's something we could think about at a later date in another podcast. Also, if the season ended today, even though we're at midseason, Hart Trophy, Vezina, Norris, and Calder.
Oof. Big discussion.
Go.
Okay. So my choice for the Hart Trophy, which is the trophy that is given out to the player that is most valuable to his team. So if you remember back a couple of years ago, Taylor Hall won the Hart Trophy on a Devils team that was pretty mediocre. I mean, he won the Hart Trophy. But my choice at this point for the Hart Trophy winner would be Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets. He's also my choice for the Vezina. Two-time Vezina Trophy winner. 25-6-2 right now. He's got 5 shutouts. He is on pace to have the best career totals. Back in 2017, 2018, he had 44 wins. In my mind, they're not there without him, so he is my pick for the Hart and the Vezina.
Wow, because that's another topic for another day for the offseason. There's always been this debate, should goaltenders win the Hart Trophy? There has been this debate about it around the National Hockey League on other platforms. To me, it doesn't matter. If you're a goaltender, you can win the Hart Trophy. Some people don't believe it. To me, I think it's short-sighted because the meaning is the most valuable player, right? Well, why can't goaltenders be the most valuable player? Say if you had a goaltender that had a season like Markstrom's last game, where every game played lights out like that. Wouldn't you consider that goaltender a Hart Trophy winner or candidate? Some people are stubborn, but I'm with you. But now I'm kind of have to be a little different because you picked Hellebuck. All right? You picked Hellebuck. This one's going to be a tough one for me. It's going to be a tough one. I don't even know who to pick. I really don't. I think Hellebuck for Vezina, but I'm trying to pick another goaltender different. I'm going to say Jacob Markstrom, only because he's at 20 wins right now, and it was unexpected for him to be this good at age 36. And if he plays like at the rate he's going, he should have over 40 wins this season on a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. Yes, they upgraded on defense, but he's still bailing them out. A team that didn't have goaltending for a very long time. Now, the Hart Trophy, it's almost like sometimes the voters are like, it's like a popularity contest, which I despise. Even like the Conn Smythe last year, it was just like, really? You know, and I never really, and I'm probably going to get flagged for this, but I really don't care what the media has to say. You know, on a lot of things I don't agree with. Like, for example, they vote on, the Hockey Hall of Fame, but, all these journalists were like Al Morganti was, won it, entered in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but someone like Stan Fischler, I just still do not know why he is not in the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. He must have done something, but he's a hockey historian. He's still working at the age of, 91, 92? Also a good friend of the podcast, in full disclosure. So I don't agree what the media says, but not to prolong this anymore. The safe pick would be... I'm going to say Cale Makar because I like him.
Cale Makar for the Hart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good pick. I mean, it's not. I don't know if you could go. I don't think you can go wrong with a pick like that. I mean, he's a fantastic player.
Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. But now
you want to talk about the Calder?
The Calder. I think Macklin Celebrini.
Do you really?
Yeah. He's maybe not at the midway point. Maybe that answer would be by the end of the season. He's starting to look really good right now.
He does look pretty good, but I'm gonna disagree with you here because I'm a former defenseman, so we got a soft spot in my heart for defensemen. I like Lane Hudson, the defenseman for the Canadians. 3 goals, 27 assists, 30 points in 40 games. He is the third defenseman in NHL history to be the first rookie to 30 points in a season. And the other two, I think you probably heard of these two. Nicholas Lidstrom did it in 91-92, and the legendary Bobby Orr back in 1966-1967.
That's crazy.
So, but Celebrini's a good choice. I mean, he's going to be he's already a great player, but he's a good player.
Yeah, definitely is. You could definitely see the talent there.
On a not a very good team.
Yeah. Agreed. Although the Montreal Canadiens are starting to pick it up as of late, which is nice.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, I think they're going to get into the playoffs, and it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do. They're the Canadiens and the Red Wings also, making some moves, making some noise. And so, congratulations to Martin St. Louis up in Montreal and what he's doing there.
He might have saved his job in the last 5 games. But anyway, moving on. And let's talk Devils.
Wait, we forgot the Norris Trophy.
Oh. Yeah, because I said...
This is a tough one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to stick with Cale Makar. If he's going to be Hart Trophy, he's got to be Norris too.
I think you're right. I agree with you. I'm going to go with Makar also, but Makar has won the Norris Trophy once, and right now 13 goals, 36 assists, 49 points. But the reigning Norris Trophy winner, Quinn Hughes, Jack's brother, from the Canucks. 8 goals, 37 points. 8 goals, 37 assists, 45 points. He's playing well. And kind of a dark horse in this race, Zach Werenski from the Columbus Blue Jackets. 12 goals, 34 assists, 46 points, on pace for the best season of his career. So you got Makar, Hughes, and Werenski all in the discussion for the Norris.
Very nice. I would have never thought, but, it's nice that somebody from the BJs, the Blue Jackets, is in contention.
Tough year for that club.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how they're getting through that. All right, talking Devils. Team MVP at the midpoint right now.
Jacob Markstrom.
I was going to say the same thing, but just to be different, Nico Hischier. Just to be different.
Can't go wrong with either of them. Can't go wrong with either of them. They've really stepped up, both of them.
Yeah. I mean, this is Nico's time to shine. He's a couple years away from his next contract. He's looking good. He just turned 26 years old. Can you believe that? He's only 26.
Coming into his prime.
Yeah. So it should be interesting if he can continue that pace, because he's on pace for possibly a 40-goal season.
Yeah, well, I think he's on pace if he keeps it up. I think he's also on pace to have that number 13 in the rafters at some point.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely a fan favorite. And grading Sheldon Keefe at the midway point.
So this is kind of this was an easier question for me about a week and a half ago than it is right now, because I love what he's done. I don't think a lot of people expected the team to be where they are. I think people expected them to make the playoffs. I think I'm going to give him a B+, and I'll tell you why. Because he's done a great job. The way he's worked the lineup, he's made some changes and everything. The one area that I wish they would do a little bit better in is some of the games that they play where they give up points to teams that are not that good. The 3-2 losses to San Jose and Anaheim. They've had a couple of other games this year where they just looked, I can't remember which one it was right now. It was a 4-0 loss. They looked completely lost. But those games have been, few and far between. I think he's done a great job. But, listen, what we do is we look for things to talk about, right? I think maybe a little bit more consistency, but I don't think there's too much to complain about with Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, look, they had a rough year last year. Sheldon Keefe has turned it around. At times it hasn't been pretty with being shut out so many times. But the players respect him. You get a sense that the team is maturing, and you get a sense of stability right now at the head coaching position with the New Jersey Devils. If I was going to grade him, I would give him a B+ at this point, because I don't.
Yeah, so we agree.
Yeah, so I don't think he's hit his potential, and that's the reason why.
They've got a good team, and I tell you something, that game tonight is going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, Devils Rangers. Could there be a line brawl? I don't know. Matt Rempe in the lineup. Igor Shesterkin in the lineup. Ranger fans looking for a spark. They're desperate. Devils coming back from the West Coast, still continuing their road trip into Madison Square Garden. Who made the NHL schedule? I don't know. But if I were going to predict, Bruce, and we're going to have Game Day Live afterwards, after this podcast, with Vinny Parisi and Short Sky. But if I was going to predict, I think the refs are going to dictate the outcome of the game. I hate to say it, and I'm going to be mad.
Well, here's the thing, and again, I'm a Devils fan. I'm saying this now as an analyst, not as a fan, or at least I'm trying not to. Somehow, some way, the Rangers have got to get Rempe under control, because he's been suspended a crazy amount of times, and I think he needs to have a stretch in his career where you can still play with a physical edge and do some of the stuff that he does, but you can't be getting suspended for 8 games for hurting people and everything like that, because there's really no place for that in the game. I think that he's a young kid and maybe they'll mentor him a little bit, but I think this 8-game warning or this suspension that he had was kind of a shot across the bow from the NHL, because I think if he does it again, I think he's going to be out for a long time.
We're talking about 20-plus games, depending on the severity of what he does.
You don't want anybody to get hurt. Listen, there's a lot of players that were great, that turned out to be great players that had a little bump, when they got started and everything like that. But, I think he's been suspended 22 games, or I may be wrong about that. I don't know. He's been suspended 4 times, though. And so somebody's got to take this kid under his wing and say, listen, you have to manage that aggression. Listen, I'm certainly not comparing Matt Rempe to Scott Stevens, but Stevens early in his career was a menace on the ice when he was with the Capitals. He was like crazed. And he turned out to be, in my opinion, one of the top 2 defensemen in history.
Agreed. Well, Bruce, heck of a podcast. Give me a heck of a night tonight. The Devils, Rangers, and other games as well. I want to thank all those tuning in. Just stick around 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll have Game Day Live with Vinny Parisi and Shorts Guy previewing the game tonight at Madison Square Garden. Dropping the podcast at midnight for your morning and afternoon commute. Well, I got my point across. Same with you, Bruce.
Well, it's a pleasure to do this with you, Sam. We've got some big things planned, and go Devils.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, we're going to get out of here. See you next week. Till next time, let's go Devils.